Hello, welcome back. My name is Sam. You're watching my YouTube channel. Uh, so I'm working on this little web app, this one here, where you can like create questions and stuff. I mentioned at the beginning that this was for a coding challenge. I think we're at the point where I can't like kind of keep it vague anymore, and I have to, if I want to keep doing this, I'm gonna have to show you what the coding challenge is. So let's see. So this is it. It's from Pluralsight. I'm excited to work on this. Here's what we have to do. So parsing and manipulating data, constructing endpoints to access data, and build JavaScript web interfaces are three tasks we commonly encounter. We present you with a dump of questions that must be parsed and made accessible in a RESTful manner. Our goal is to gain an understanding of your design choices when attacking such problems. So, stuff here. The challenge should be accompanied with a CSV file. If you do not receive one, reach out to us. The CSV data is tabular, with each column separated by a vertical pipe. The column headings are questions, answers, and distractors. Each record represents a single multiple choice question. If multiple distractors or wrong answers exist, they are separated by a comma. Below is an example. So it'll be something like, what is 7,343 minus 6,708? And the answer is this, and these are the three distractors. So we have a zip file that contains a data dump that looks like this. And so what I want to do is to work on a little Ruby importer to take this and put it into our database. Take this data and put it in the right spot. But before I do that, so I need to update our data model, I think, because right now we currently just have questions, and questions just have text, and we don't have a way of storing in our database answers or distractors. So I think what I want to do is to make a new model, or maybe two new models. I could see this done a couple ways. I mean, one way to do it is to just make these attributes of question. Question could have an answer. There's just a text field on answer, and then a text field on question, and then like distractor 1, distractor 2, distractor 3, or something like that. But that kind of is not very. We want our database to be more normalized than that, I think. So I think we want to add another model for answers, and maybe another model for distractors. Although, what I could see working well is having you could have another way to think about this is that there's like this question has 4 answers, and one of them is the right answer, and then 3 of them are the distractors. You could have like a flag that's like, this answer is a correct answer, and this one is a distractor, like distractor true false maybe. And that seems. I mean, one thing about that's nice, that I like, is that it's flexible. You could see potentially in the future you could have a question that has multiple right answers, and you're like selecting from a list of answers, right? Or and like already we can see that like some questions will only have one distractor, and some will have multiple distractors. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it like that, where we have an answer model, and then an attribute of answer will be whether it's a distractor or not, whether it's the right answer or not. Does that make sense? So what we'll need to do, I think the easiest way to do this is to use a generator. So I'm gonna do that, and then Rails G model answers. I want to make sure I spell it right. Answer. And so importantly, this has a relationship with question, right? I think the way to say that is answer references question. I think it looks like that. But I'm gonna actually do this to see if I'm right, because this will give me some like helpful output. Browser model. Is there any example of a references? Yeah, references. Interesting. Oh, so I had the order wrong. I'm glad I checked because it would be question colon references, right? You can also consider references a kind of type. For instance, if you run browser model photo title string colon references. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do Rails G model answer question colon references, and then the other attributes it'll have are, oh geez, I spelled it wrong. Answer. Oops. Answer. What is going on here? A-N-S-W-E-R. That looks good. Okay. Okay. So what this allows us to do is to do like answer.question and question.answers. I think. We also want to be able to do answer.text, right? Like it'll have some text. It will be of type text, and it will also have a Boolean value called distractor. Oh, can I make this default to true, I wonder? Is there anything in here about setting a default value? If no type is specified string, no, okay, that's not helpful. I think in my migration I can specify a default. Yeah, so I'll do that in the migration. I think for now this is good. So this will make us a answer model. Yeah. What just happened? That was weird. Must have had focus in a weird spot. Okay, enter. There we go. So what did it make? It made a migration, made a model, it made some tests, and a fixture. Okay, so let's look at the migration first. Hello? DB migrate this one. So it has a reference to questions. Foreign key is true. We wanted to add a default value here, I think. Oh, you know what? How about default? So I'm looking for how to make give a column a default value. Because I think we want for the distractor. I think we want this to default to true unless we explicitly pass in a like flag that says it's a true answer, right? Correct answer. I'm not seeing. Oh, it's just like this. Default migration generator does not handle default values. Column modifiers are supported, but do not include default or null. But you could create your own generator. You can also manually update the migration file prior to running RakeDB migrate by adding the options to add column. Sure. So this will look like that. Oh, of course. Okay. And it doesn't make sense to have a answer without a question, right? So maybe this should be required. Rails migration required field. Null is false. That makes sense. If you do not want, you can probably do it like this. Okay. So I think that's what we want our migration to look like. Let's see what it made for us in the model. This belongs to question. And then I think in question we'll need to add has many answers, something like that. And now if we do, actually let's do, maybe I should have done this before, but Rails test and see what it runs, see what it does, because it added a test. I wonder if there's anything in that makes it interesting. So answer test, yeah, it's just empty. That's fine. Of course. Okay, so we got to run the migrations before we can run the test. Rails db migrate. Okay, so this will make the table for us, the answers table. And I'll run this too. Huh. So, you know, we could write some tests. Probably would be good to write some tests. Let's do it. Even though we've already written the code that we want. Actually, ooh, yeah, let's have an idea for a test that I want to write. So, so before I get to that, let's commit this. Git status git add -p. Yes, we want to add that. And this is our schema file. We want to get those changes, and then all the rest of it. Right? Add answers model. Sure. Okay, so I think the test that I want to write will be okay. So our next sort of task, our next objective, is to do something to import these questions and answers. I think that's a good thing to test drive, right? We can write a test that takes some like string and creates the models that we want. Right? Right? Yes, right. Okay, so this will be in question test, I think, because what I want to be able to do is have like a class method on question that does that, like, you know, create from a string or something. So the test should be on in question test, and it will look like, well, let's start here. Let's see it fail because we haven't actually run the test in a while. Whoops. Rails test. Cool. Expected falsy to be truthy. Ooh, and I got this other error. Huh. Update or delete on table questions violates foreign key constraint. On table answer. Key. Oh my. So interesting. Okay. Let's get this test passing. I want to understand what's going on here. Okay, so should destroy a question. So in our setup, we create a question, and then here we call the delete function, or no, yeah. delete. Okay, so that seems pretty straightforward. What is going on in our controller? So it just calls question.destroy. I'm curious, does this question actually have answers? I don't think it would it? Maybe it does because of the way we're using the fixtures. Let me look at the fixtures. That might be illuminating. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So when we set up yeah, so our fixtures have a question. Our answer fixtures. And it's the ones that we created here, which are used by the test. So so this makes sense. This is good. It should not be able to delete this question without also deleting this answer, right? And I think the fix here is to there's a what's it called? A function that you can call in your model that's like I think destroy dependence or something. Destroy dependent rails. So we have a has many relationship, and we want to specify that when we destroy the parent record, we should also destroy the child records. Dependent delete all. Let's try that out. Delete use.destroy. Okay, so in our two models. So in this analogy, EMP group is like the answer. Or do I have that backwards? Oh, yeah, I do. Because EMP group is like the question. So yeah, so I want to add this to our question. Right? Has many answers, and when we delete the question, we delete all the dependents. And then the syntax is old, so let's update it to be like that. Like that. This looks funky. Why does this look funky? Okay. Does the test pass now? I hope so. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so let's go back to this test. So let's see it fail. Right, okay, so that's working. What we want here is a test that let's add a describe around this. Is that necessary? That's the question test questions can be created from text from, yeah, sure, okay. So there's going to be a little bit of setup. What we're going to do is do question dot create from string, create from text. And we'll pass it this example. And I don't know, let's see, what can we assert about this? Question dot text is equal to this, and we can assert that question dot answer. Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Let's just do that bit first, and then we can expand this. So run the test. Should fail because we don't have this method defined yet. So this will be self dot, what did I call it? Create from string, and it takes a string. Actually, oops. So this will fail still, but I want to see what the error that we get at this point will be. Undefined method text for that. Okay. So we're just throwing back the string. So what we want to do is, instead of returning the string, we want to return a question.new. This will give us a different error. When assigning attributes, you must pass hash as an argument. Text is like that. So this is what it. Oh, do I have the order wrong? Saying this is the expected value and this is the actual value? Yeah, those are backwards. Okay, so let me fix my test. So this is expected, that's actual. And then we can also, yeah, okay. So now, what we want to do is pull out the question text from the string that we're getting in. And I think the best way to do that is with Well, I don't know. We could try to do it with regular expression. Ruby has some good string parsing methods. We could do s.split on this, on this character, and then it'll split the string into an array of strings, and then we can take the 0th element of that to get the string that we want, right? Oh, and we're green. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna close some of the other things that are open right now. Close tabs to the right. Question controller has changes. What change did I make? Okay, great. So we're green now, right? So I want to add to my test. I want to also assert that I get 635 for question dot answers dot. Oh, interesting. So what I want is the answer with the where distractor is false, right? So answers dot filter. Is this a lot for a test? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe there's an easier way. Question dot. Maybe I'll have some methods on question for true answer and for distractors. So I can do like true answer to get the true answer for the question. And then yeah, that'll be good for now. So cool. True answer doesn't exist. So we'll add another method here. Question what am I doing? Def true answer. And this it'll call answers and then do the filter. Filter for so it'll take an answer and oh god, I'm confusing my Ruby and my JavaScript. I think this is correct. We can use curly braces here for the block, and then answer dot distractor, where it's not a distractor. And instead of filter, there should only be one, right? So I want to do that. What is this complaining? Unexpected token pipe, use Ruby 2.6 parser, configure with target Ruby version. Yeah, this looks wrong to me. I've been doing too much JavaScript programming. Is that right? Unexpected token curly. Oh gosh, okay. Let's look up Ruby filter, sure. This is not helpful. This maybe is helpful. So I have to do, maybe I just need to use do end. It doesn't look good inline, I think. I just didn't need the parentheses, maybe? Yeah, I didn't need the parentheses. And I want it to be inline, so I'm using the curly braces. Geez, okay. Answer right. So that I think will work. Let me run the test. Expected 635. Actual is nil. So that's because even though we have this method now, we're not actually creating the answer when we create from string. So we'll add can I do this? Answers. Okay, let me think for a minute. So I want to pull this out, s.split, into something. So this is going to be I don't know. I don't have a good name. Parts equals s dot split. So that's just refactoring. That hasn't changed anything. But now if we take this, turn question, that's just more refactoring. What I want to do is, so now I'm adding, I can do question dot, or how about this? Answer new yeah, answer dot new. So the text is going to be parts 1, and the extractor is going to be false, because the first part's always the right answer to the question, right? And we want to do this. The question that it belongs to is question. Okay. So this should pass our current test. Or not. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so let's inspect what we've actually made here. Put in a breakpoint, run the test. Okay. Question dot answers is an empty. It's empty. is true. Okay. Hmm. 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 So, ooh, I know what's going on. So the reason that the test is failing. Actually, let me just check some things first. So if we do answer dot last, we should see that there's an answer, right? And it has the question ID. Have I really created that many questions? Holy cow! Bananas. Um, Something seems off here, since ID and question ID are the same. That seems wrong. Question.id? Maybe? Um, last.id. Why does it have that ID? Weird. Okay. That's kind of a strange mystery. Um, anyway, I'm pretty sure I know what the issue here is. I'm pretty sure I know why my test is failing. I think it's because we create the question object and we create the answer, and the answer references the question, but we don't ever sort of refresh this object to see that it has now a question. So if we do, right, if we do question dot, what was it? True answer? True answer. It gives us nil. But if I do question dot refresh, is that the right thing? No method, error, refresh. Basically, I want it to read again from the database the data for this question. Refresh model. Reload. It's reload, not refresh. So question dot reload. Couldn't find question without an ID. What is going on with the IDs? That's very strange. Question dot ID. Oh, because I. Oh. Okay, so okay, this might explain why this has a weird ID. It's because I haven't actually. I've created a new question, but I actually haven't created it in the database. I haven't saved it yet. So what I want to be doing here is create, and I want to create the answer, right? Maybe that was the problem? Huh. I'm going to take out the buy bug for a second and see where we're at. Okay. Interesting. Okay, cool. Question. So, okay, so now I think the issue, I think we're, the thing that's happening now is that we're expecting a string, 6:35, but we're getting back the answer object. And we can just do dot text here, and that makes sense. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay. And then finally, assert equal, oops, what is the first distractor here? 688. And that'll be question dot distractor. So I'll add a method called distractors to question to get its distractors. And then that'll be a list, so I can do dot first. Dot text. And then here for 7171 second dot text, and then 7023. 7023 should be the last one. Okay, so so I need to create 3 more answers, or in fact, it could be. I want to stay flexible here. It could be 0 answers, or more. So I'll do parts of dot split on this string, comma space, because the distractors are all divided by a comma. Right? So and then this will give us another array, and this time we want to do a map, and in here we'll do a do end because it'll be on multiple lines. Unexpected token do. Q6 parser. I'm a little bit confused about why it's giving me trouble here. And then I'm going to try to get my test passing first, and then try to figure out why the parser is unhappy. So, or the linter, I should say. Not the parser, the linter. Okay, so now we should have an array of strings, text, that we can use to create answers. And for each of these, the distractor is true, and actually I can leave that off because the default is true. And here the text is text, and the question is still question. I'm gonna close this because it's distracting. Don't need to be paying attention to it right now. Maybe it's again the parentheses. Okay. For double quotes, oh fine. And then return, redundant return. So I don't need to return question, I can just have question be the last thing in the method, right? And then that. Okay. Are we happy? Rails test. Undefined method distractors. Ah, great. Okay, so our test is failing. Wait. Yes? Oh, did I like write this test and then not run it? Like add these things? Yeah, I think I did. That's fine. Okay. Anyway, so this is good. Now I need def distractors. And this will be answers dot filter where the answer is a distractor. Let's see. Does that work? Does that pass? It does. Now that it's passing, I think there might be a easier way to say this. I think maybe I can just pass the symbol. The symbol? Does that work? No, it does not. Okay. That's fine. This is fine. Great. So this is useful. We have some like handy methods on our question. We also have this way of creating questions from a string. Cool. And then, so the next thing I want to do is to make a rake task that will go through this line by line and create each of those questions. So that I'm going to use another generator to make a task. I think there's a generator for rake tasks. Rails G task. Is that what I want? Usage Rails generate task. It is. Okay, cool. Generates a task file in lib tasks. That's exactly what I want. So Rails G task, and we'll call it populate DB from, actually we'll call it populate questions from CSV. Actually, is it a CSV technically? Technically, it is .csv. All right. So that's our task name. And then So okay, so then let's look at what it made for us. In our lib tasks folder, populate questions from CSV. Rails rake. Uh-oh. One sec. So it printed. Didn't know how to build task rake. Huh? Did I do something wrong? Did I create my oh, maybe I needed to skip namespace flag because I don't want a namespace, I just want a task. Alright, let's do what was it? Rails destroy task. This one? To start over? Okay. And then we'll use the generator, but we'll pass the, what was it? No, skip namespace? Skip namespace. Huh? I mean, I suppose we could have a namespace. Have a namespace for, it's like kind of a DB thing. We could have it in the database namespace, but skip namespace. Is this different from what it made us last time? Doesn't look like it. Alright, I'm gonna take a minute to like Google Rails tasks. Rails D task, my namespace, task 1, task 2. Maybe I just need a namespace. Maybe that's the problem. Alright. Whatever. I'm not gonna try to make the generator work. Let's try this. So getting to automate tasks. thought this would be simple. The environment bit. And can I just run any kind of Ruby code here? Can I do question dot create from string and then pass it the string? Oh, whoops, that's not the right string. This is the string that I want. So, okay. I'm gonna stop my server for a sec and do Rails console. So let's look at question dot last. Oh, whoops. Capital question. It's Pugar. So after I run this rig task, I'm hoping that I'll see this question. To do that, do Rails and then the name of the task. Oops. Doesn't know how to build task. Populate questions from CSV. See list of available tasks with rate dash dash tasks. Oh wait, did I put it in the namespace? I did put it in the namespace, so I can do this task. Okay. Rails uninitialized constant question. So I haven't loaded question. I don't have my question class. That's a bit troubling. Maybe maybe a task is the wrong place for this. Maybe this is a migration. What's the environment task? As far as I know, do environment before winter, but what's environment? When should I use it? You can get access to your models, and in fact your whole environment by dependent on environment. Okay, that's what I want. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Okay. So what did I have here? I had environment for a second. Yeah, there it is. Huh. Interesting. Okay. So this looks like this. It means it depends on environment, which will include question, which means that I can hopefully do this now. Rails DB populate questions from CSV. What did that do? It ran. Did it do something? Question dot last. It did. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, so now we just needed to do that for every question in the CSV file. Right? So let's make this file in our where should we put this? Storage? What is storage for? I mean, maybe storage is the right place. Maybe DB is the right place. I will make a. Oh, what? I don't know what combination of keys I just pressed, but I do not want to do that. Okay. Um, you know what we can do? We can not worry so much about where we put this if this takes some parameter. Let's figure out how to pass this parameter, and then we can pass in the path to this file, right? So I'll just grab this for now and put it in temp. No, I'll put it in lib. Why not? Feels like it doesn't belong there, but it's a lot of questions. Wow. So let's figure out how to pass this param. Let's see, Rails, rake, param. How to pass arguments to a rake task with environment in Rails. Sounds right. Task. It's not a valid task call. Does anybody know how to achieve this? When you pass in arguments to the rake tasks, you can require the environment using the needs option. For example, task hello message needs environment, and then do passing args. As of Rails 3.1, Oh, this is deprecated as of 3.1. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so we want this args. Um, and then args is accessed like an array, or like a hash, I mean, where we can do like, well, maybe pass in a path. Path to the file. Okay. Okay. Actually, let's do. If we have environment, we should be able to do bybug, right? And put in a breakpoint. So now, when we call it, we'll do like this. So path to the thing is going to be /questions.csv. Undefined local variable or method args for main object. Darn. Excuse me. How? 4 different ways to pass args into a rake task. The rake way. Num1, num2. Oh, I need to name them. I need to name them. Cool. So this is like colon path, and then args path, right? I could also be calling this incorrectly. Let's look back at this again. You'd run this like so. Yeah, okay. Rails aborted. Right, so because I'm calling it wrong. So // questions.csv. No matches found. Okay. I've known this for a long time. There are too many caveats with it. If you're using a CSH shell, then you'll probably get this error. Oh, no matches found. Yeah, That's because you have to escape your square brackets. So you would have to run the task like this, and that's ugly. You need brackets on the command line. You need to know the order which you must include your arguments. You also can't have spaces after the comma. It works, but it's bad. Okay. What are my other options? Environment variables. If you're working with rake, you probably know and have used environment variables. Yeah, that's another way. I don't want to use that. When you run a rake task, the task's names are bundled up a constant, argv. So you could do something like argv1, argv2, and it would be run like this. Referring back to the task, the first line, argv.each, is dynamically written. That's on the floor. One thing is quite apparent. There isn't a straightforward means of accepting arguments in a rake task. As developers, doesn't that lead right to the thought, there must be something better? Yes, it does. Maybe if every time you write a rake task, you have to do something unintuitive to accept arguments, then it's time to consider an alternative. There is. Thor is widely held to be a great alternative to rake on the Ruby command line. It's the tool behind Rails generate commands. It's just lovely. I haven't used it much, but if you're interested, there's a good Rails cast that can get you started. Do I want to use Thor instead? I'm gonna try this method. So then I don't use the square brackets. I just put this here. Maybe. Oh, what is path? Path? Oh, I have that string. Amazing. Stinking amazing. Okay. So, now I need to look up more things. I need to look up how to parse, how to get Ruby get line from file. Reading and writing files. Learn Ruby the hard way. I'm going to close it. So, this is one way to do things. I think This is not quite what I want. Problem with using, I think what I want to do, yeah, there's another way to do this where you can call open and then pass it a block, and then it automatically closes when the block is done executing. And then you don't have to remember to call close. So I'm gonna do it that way, I think, if I can find an example. Sure. Let's see if this has a good example. Yeah, I think this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so instead of file, we've got path, right? And file that read lines each do line. What I want to do is this. Questions create from a string, passing in the line. So exit. I got rid of bybug. Let's just try it again. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and, well, let's see what happens. Oh, it's taken some time, but something happened. No such file or directory. Oh, because I CSC. It's supposed to be CSV, right? I did name it CSV? Good, okay. So that maybe will work? /questions.csv. No such file or directory. Oh, probably because, so even though the rate task is here, and the relative path from here is up into the lib folder, we're running it from outside the lib folder, so maybe the path needs to be lib/questions. Okay, so it's taking a while. I think that's a good sign in the sense that it's not crashing immediately. It's probably making those things. Problem is that this is kind of slow because there are a lot of them, and the way that we're doing it, well, it returned. All right, let's take a sec and see, and then we can talk about why it's slow. So let's see if it worked. Question.last. Yeah, we have a lot of questions now. Okay, let's take a look at this in our web view. Foreman start. What? There they are. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, you know what I realized? So I have a mistake in my importer because it's importing the first line, and I want to actually skip the first line because that has data that looks like it's just like header title data, kind of like, right? Yeah, we want to skip this first line. So how do we How do we skip the first line? We could do something like something silly where we do like if line dot starts with a method. I think it might be Ruby starts string starts with. Amazing. Amazing. It is a method. We can just pass it a string. So if line dot starts with a question that answer, then it's probably not the question that we're looking for. We probably don't want to actually make a question out of it. We can continue. That's not the right thing. Ruby loop continue. Equivalent of continue in Ruby. Next. Oh my goodness. Question or yeah. Just that way it won't create hmm. Okay, so okay. So I fixed that problem, I'm pretty sure. I could drop my database and run it again just to make sure that I did fix it. And then while that's happening, we can talk about why it's slow. How about Rails DB reset? Nope. Syntax error. What? Where is there a syntax error? Populate question form.csv.rate from CS. I have a syntax error in here somewhere. Unexpected end of input. Okay. Okay. So this. Okay. So I think it's probably I'm missing an end. This do goes with this end, and this do goes with this end, and this end goes with this do. This do goes with this end. That seems okay. Why? What's the unexpected end of input about? Is next not the right keyword? Let's try this. next if. It's a little bit worrying that this syntax highlighting is not like recognizing this as anything in particular. Maybe it's because we're in a rake file and not a Ruby file. Hey, okay. So I was able to do that. Let's do this again. So now we should have a list of questions from our CSV file and no questions that aren't from our CSV file. How many are there? 4,001. Oh my goodness, that's so many. Okay, so the reason it's slow, part of the reason it's slow is because there are 4,001, but also because we're doing it in kind of a naive way. When we create, so basically for each line, we call this method, and there's a database call, like this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. So for each of those 4,001 questions, we're doing, oh man, at least 3 different calls to the database, 3 different queries. And if we wanted to make this faster, we probably wouldn't write this in using like Rails syntax. We wouldn't use active record. We would probably need to like go up into SQL syntax so that we could make all this happen in sort of like you could write a database SQL query to insert all of these at once, and that would probably be a lot more efficient than what I am doing. Because instead of like thousands and thousands of database queries, we can do it in one query. Probably though you're not doing this very often. You're probably just doing it once to populate your database the first time, and then like doing it through the interface otherwise. So maybe the slowness doesn't matter. I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna not try to write this in SQL because this is working and it's good enough. If we need something faster, we can always make something faster. So yeah, is my server running? Can I look at it? It stopped it. Performance start. Okay, let's take a look. Reload the page. It's not running yet. It's not started yet. Here we go. All questions. It takes a minute to load because there are a lot of questions. Oh, I still have the what is your quest? Oh, because that's my seed file. I think at this point, since I have this, I can get rid of my seed file. Yeah, let's just delete this. I think this is no longer useful. And actually reading this makes me think that perhaps I should have not made this a rake task and made it a seed task, a seed thing. But that's fine. I'll get rid of my seeds file. Actually, what I'll do is instead of deleting it, I'll make a comment here. So run So this is a comment. Hello? There we go. And I'll also put this comment in the seeds file in case someone's looking in there for trying to figure out how to, seed the database. Right? Okay. This is good. I should commit this, right? So git status git add -p. What did we do? So this is questions. We added some functionality to questions. That's important. We added a comment here and deleted the other seeds behavior that we had. That's fine. We added a test for this, for the create from string method. That seems valuable. What else? Git add lib the rake file and the questions file. We want to add both of those. Git commit -m add rake task to import questions from CSV into database. Okay. Ooh, you know what I should do? Is I should keep my, I don't know, my read file needs some work, but I can at least add some info to it about how to populate the database, right? So database creation. Oh, I definitely need to add more info here. Yeah. All right. So I kind of wonder. We're not displaying any answer information at this point. I'm kind of curious if we have that kind of info or not. So we have this questions text. Yeah, okay. Okay. So it looks like in our UI we don't have the answer data. So we can add that. I think take a minute and look at questions.json. Oh gosh, this is going to be huge. Yeah, so this doesn't contain any answer data. So in our controller, I think we're going to want to update our controller to include that. Where is our controller? App, controllers, questions controller. Yeah. So here we can do um, so our question model has many answers. I was kind of hoping that by calling render JSON, like I was kind of hoping that we wouldn't have to do anything special to render the question as a JSON, but maybe we need some like a serializer or something. Let's I'm going to put in some breakpoints and just play around a little bit to explore what is going on. Bye bug. In index and maybe also, yeah, I'll stick it here in index. And then questions.json should hit that breakpoint. So here we are at that breakpoint. If I do let's see what I'm typing. It's a little bit annoying. At questions gives me a list of questions. If I do questions dot first, it gives me just one question. If I do question dot first dot answers, it gives me the list of answers. So let's see. I'm gonna look up Rails. Actually, what happens if I do instead of I just called to.json on a question. Questions.first.to.json. Yeah, it gives me the question data, but it doesn't give me any of the answer data. I'm guessing that's what gets called when we do render JSON. It just calls to.json on the question object. So Google Rails. I don't know, child object to JSON. Rails object relationships, and JSON rendering. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I know very little about Rails. I'll try to be succinct. Given the following model relations in Rails, model A belongs to model B. Model B has many of model A. When calling the show action of model A controller, the return JSON should show all object A's that are children of object B, of which object A in question is a child of. So if I have object B that contains object A's ID for 1, 2, 3, and then access them, I should see insert the model A JSON for IDs 1, 2. Yeah, okay, so they're asking kind of about what I want. By default, you'll only get the JSON that represents model B in your example above. You can tell Rails to include the other related objects as well. Okay, cool. So by doing, let's see, export model a dot find to JSON include model B. Is this the thing that they're referring to? We just do include model B. You can even tell it to include certain fields if you don't want to see them, to exclude certain fields if you don't want to see them in the export. Include model B except created at and updated at. Huh. Or include only certain fields. Include model B only name. And you can nest those as deeply as you need. Let's say model B also has many model C. So include model B, include model C. Huh. If you want to include multiple child models associations, do the following. Include and then pass an array of model A, B, model N. Interesting. Yeah, I think this is exactly what we want. So render JSON questions dot to JSON and then include model B, except it won't be model B, it'll be answer. Answers? Sounds more right if I say include answers, but I'm not sure. So we made a change. Let's see what happens. Oh, maybe I should. Oh, I'm still in the breakpoint. That's why it's taking forever. Did I remove the breakpoint? I hope so. Yes. Exit. Exit. Oh. That's fine. I just need to restart my server. So, let me look at, I'm curious to see what my question controller test looks like. It just, in response should be success. Alright, that's fine. That is just fine. Not very interesting test, but is my server started? Maybe? Here we go. Amazing. We have some answers. Extractor is true. Extractor is false. Brilliant. 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 Okay, great. So now we're including them. We're including that information. I probably want to do that with everything. Hmm. So I could call toJSON include answers on each of these. It seems not very dry. I wonder if there's a better thing to do here. So when I show it, I want to include the answers. Am I even using the show method at any point? Might not be. I might not be. Question.save render JSON. Update. So this is when we update a question. We want the response to include the answers. Sure. When we destroy a question, we expect back a. We don't expect back a question. We just expect it to be destroyed. I mean, I guess it's not. We added it in 4 places. It's a little bit annoying that it's repeated. I guess I could. The other way to do this would be to add a toJSON method to questions and then have it include answers. Although this amount of, I don't mind it. It's not terrible. So I'm gonna keep it a little bit not dry for now. I think what I want to do next is to show the answers as part as part of the display. Okay, so let's take a look at the React for all questions. Where is it? All question.jsx. So we display the, we render the question. So what we actually want is question.jsx. Right, so right now we're rendering the text and a couple buttons. I think what we'll want to do is have another component for rendering the answers. I think that makes sense, right? But for now, let's just, in like a real basic p tag, do this.props.questions. Question dot Ooh, interesting. So it'll have multiple answers, right? So let's just try to display one of the answers. This.prop.answers dot text. Oh man, I really slowed things down by having all these questions. We'll need to add some pagination or something so that it's not getting all of them and trying to display them. Yeah, okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. This is fantastic. Um, I think I'll need to take a break. I need to take a break, but I'll come back to this. For now, I'll commit this because I think this is an improvement. Like, we're displaying the answers. That's cool, right? Even if we can't like update it or change the answers at all. Right? We can edit the question, but we can't edit the answers yet. So I'm gonna commit this and take a break, and I'll be back in a bit. Nice. What did we do? I guess we updated the README. That's good. Questions controller. We updated. Yeah, we're including the answers now. That is great. And then we're showing showing the answers. Sure. And this git commit show answers to questions. Git push. All right. I will be right back.